Welcome to the Innovators. Each week, we're serving up real talk with badass women who are dishing out the truth. No fluff, no BS, just raw, honest stories and lessons to inspire and empower the next generation of trailblazing women. We're here to keep it real and pay it forward. I'm your humble host, Cynthia Nelson, three-time entrepreneur, investor, and advisor. It's a real pleasure today to have on the show Flor, I'm going to say it the right way,
You
Palazzolo,
will. Yes.
CEO of Civil Mafia and Civil Mafia Foundation. Flor, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia, so much for having me. It's a great opportunity and I love what you're doing.
Supporting women, I posted the other day that I didn't celebrate International Women's Day because I celebrate it all the time. And I don't think
True.
it's one day. I think it's the whole damn year, frankly, every day we should be doing it, not just one day out of the year. So that's my thing. So I want to go back. I know that you're from Argentina. And you've been here for about 13, 14 years. But how did you start, before Silva Mafia and Silva Mafia Foundation? How did you actually start? You kind of had Microsoft and Shazam, but give me the story, give me the history.
So back in Argentina, I had my own business. My dad had his own business. I used to work for him. I started very young. I would say at 14, 15 years old.
Mhm.
And when I came here, it wasn't just seeking, like economic or like a change in my economic life or like those sort of opportunities. I was seeking for mental like peace and well-being. So um I started from scratch. I didn't even have a resume because I've always created my own opportunities.
Right.
So coming here, LinkedIn was key. When I arrived here on December 27, 2012, I already had like 10 to 12 interviews set up with key people in the industry. So that was sort of my restart, reborn.
That's amazing. And then you worked with Microsoft, but supporting LATAM and launching Shazam in Latin America. What was that like? And what were some of the key learnings?
Well, first of all, I think coming from my entrepreneurial background, navigating, political, corporate, and the bureaucracy of big companies was the my first learning. I worked for a company that was sales house for Microsoft in Latin America for Shazam and also for Microsoft within the Latin market here.
Mhm.
So I had to also understand coming from Argentina that Latin America it's not just a big monolith. It's different countries, different cultures, different ways of calling the same things, but also
Mhm.
different political
Mhm.
context. So I had to try to do business and like get my good market share by really, really catering to each single market and understanding what was happening locally.
And then explaining that back to the US counterparts too, right? Because they kind of tend to like lump everything into like, yeah, it's Latin America. It's like, no. The way people
Yeah.
think in Argentina, that think in Brazil, think in Mexico, think in Central America, it's very different. Language even. I mean, Spanish, yes, but the accent, some of the words that are used, the way that it sounds, very different from Colombia to Argentina to Mexico. Make tremendous difference in sound.
Yeah, and me myself, I have to soften a little bit my Argentinian accent. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't on purpose, but I did realize that we come a little bit strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I believed people felt a little bit, like overwhelmed
Mm-hmm.
by how we speak. So yeah, I have to adapt and grow from, like different perspectives.
Definitely. And then you started this company, Civil Media, and then the Civil Media Foundation. So, or Civil Mafia and the Civil Mafia Foundation.
Well, you got it good because we're rebranding to civil media actually. So,
I love Civil Mafia though too. I mean, I think it's like really interesting. But how did this all start? What was that, one point in time where you said, okay, I've got to do this? And why are you different? What are you supplying to clients? It's very different from a marketing media company uh, than anybody else is doing.
well, first of all, as I said, we're actually rebranding to civil media because I even have people asking me if we're doing illegal stuff just because of the name,
The
and
name.
like
Yeah.
who would put that name if they were doing something illegal, right? But nothing illegal there. We're rebranding as Civil Media basically because we're taking it more as an umbrella perspective on how we do things, because we started as, like just building ad tech and digital media and programmatic um, services and tools. And then we realized that there was a lot of, there was an underserved market for, content and bridging the gap between, for example, user generated content and the media, the digital media business. I even created my own short docu-series with focus on mental health and soccer, which it was another element that really helped me go through it with all my moving and my new life here in the States. So I really wanted to kind of create something that it didn't only seek economical gains or that ROI
Mhm.
on the business side. So I founded Civil Mafia, now Civil Media, with the aim of nurturing the media, the digital media ecosystem, the industry, with the purpose of creating a circular development model where everything that we did um, on the company side, on the business side, would have an impact on other people, other organizations. And that's where I founded the Civil Mafia Foundation. So we donate part of our profit to the Civil Mafia Foundation, and with that we help, I would say, between 15 and 20 nonprofits per year. And most of these nonprofits, they either cater kids or serve kids that are lacking any type of resources. That can be from economical to um, mental health and wellness to like sports, arts, different kind of needs. So I would say it's different because I have a it's different from everything else because I have my business mind and my entrepreneurial background, but I'm always very humble and with my feet uh, on the floor, just trying to also know that there's so much more that we can do and so much impact that we can bring. Uh, so
So
I
it's
guess,
media marketing with actually direct impact into organizations. That's a really interesting twist on just making money.
yeah,
People usually, make money in the company, then at a certain point, okay, now we'll give back or we'll do something local or get our team involved in local activities. But you've actually created a company that from its core is about taking what you're doing and impacting other diverse organizations, people that are in need, and utilizing your services, right? And your money, putting your money and your services where your mouth is and
yeah.
impacting communities at large. It's really great. Um, I want to talk a little bit about AI because it's such a huge topic now in media, entertainment, marketing. What are you seeing with clients? What are the questions they're asking? What's keeping them up at night? How are you addressing it?
Well, I think right now, besides the people that works with me, that AI is the main shareholder, collaborator, my main partner. But no, definitely, I use it a lot myself. I have it integrated all my tools from my email to my project management tools. So like from the day to day, even getting ready, like warming up for this interview, I was chatting and like speaking with my AI.
Yep.
So I think from my client standpoint, I think there's a lot to be done at a digital media level. It's great to optimize campaigns. We actually have developed a tool for validating traffic and like
Mhm.
having all the verificators in place, and we're using AI because it's it's easier to optimize processes and be more efficient and faster, I would say.
Mhm.
But also, like just to proofread stuff. We do
Yep.
have a new publisher that we created that is called Simple People, and we create wellness and mental health content. So we proofread that with using AI. but more than that, I think that it's shaping the future, right? Because new
Right.
generations are already born with this tool. So I think
Yeah.
it's going to be key how this ends up developing for the new
Yeah.
generations.
Definitely. I mean, the digital natives, right, already had a leg up and they're already using it ad nauseum. I was talking to someone the other day about having experience in an industry and using AI versus just, being kind of junior and using AI. If you don't know what to put in, it's the garbage in, garbage out, right? If you don't actually know what you're looking for, or you don't know how to phrase it, and you don't train the tool on your client, how you speak or what you're looking for, then it's not going to bring you back the answers and the type of content and context that you're looking for. Have you seen the same thing?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. There's not one time that I've used AI that it got it right the first time, but
Yeah.
also it lacks, like deepness at a
Right,
certain
right,
level.
right.
So depending on what you ask, it can get pretty shallow. And I can, even with my team, I realize when they are like using AI without, like an actual uh I would say like rational or like just
Right,
going deeper into the conversation, because
right.
I think it's a perfect PR because it can say a lot of things without actually saying
Saying
anything.
anything at all, right? Right. No, no, no. I get it. And I think the more context you have behind what you're doing, right, and the more experience you have, the better it actually gets because it's learning from you every time you talk to it or every time you're putting information. So I think marketers are having a really interesting time right now figuring it out and figuring out how to make it work for them again, like you said, day to day, when I'm asking questions or reviewing something or doing executive overview or going deep into kind of the research side too. Um, in this long journey that you've had in so many different areas, what's kind of the most important or a valuable piece of information that you've gotten from somebody like a mentor?
I would say my two main mentors were my dad and my grandfather, because both of them they have retail. My dad, he had a shop and they produce women's clothes
Hmm.
in back in Argentina, and my granddad, he used to sell cleaning supplies.
Hmm.
So I was from a very young age working with them, and I think that from waking up very early in the morning and just getting there and showing up no matter what, to understanding and learning, like learning and understanding, to hear people, to hear them out, and their needs, and their expectations, and just trying to address your speech or address your products and services to them, just to cover and produce provide satisfaction at a client,
Right.
a provider level. I think that was key in shaping my way of being, like my personal self.
Yeah.
But then I have a great boss here in the States that I kind of shadow him
Hmm.
uh for like 3 years, and then that's how I navigated the political environment, the
Hmm.
bureaucracy, like all these
Hmm.
challenges that were more at a corporate level. So I
Hmm.
guess I would say I have the best of both worlds. So
I think those early listening skills, like that's a learned habit, right? Those early kind of get in and do it no matter what, but also listen to what the client has to say, which means being really present, are
yeah.
great skills in corporate because it takes a lot of stopping and listening to guide and to build companies and to get through political and sometimes, political chaos in a company. It happens all the time. Layoffs, hirings, issues, client issues, that kind of stepping back and listening and being able to come back to doing whatever it takes. Those are really super different skills, but super complementary when they come together.
Yeah, you know what? I think one of my key learnings, it's from what you're saying, is learning to listen and not always trying to be the smartest person in the room.
Yep.
With like corporate and even with men, there's a lot of men in the industry and they
Yes.
always have a lot to say,
Yep.
and there's a lot of egos going, around the room. So if like I learned that sometimes it's better just to listen and to remain silent and just speak when you actually have something to say.
Mhm.
Also because it helped me to, like gain some respect in the room, and to sit at the same table as everybody, like as all the men at a corporate level doesn't
Mhm.
actually be heard.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm not always trying to be the smartest.
It's hard sometimes to bite your tongue. I have that problem too. But the listening part is really interesting because you pick up on all the nuances in the room and all the, okay, this is actually just yappening BS. But if I add this one comment here, here's what I've synthesized from this conversation and coming up with one sentence, two sentences, it kind of cuts through everything very quickly. And people kind of look at you like, oh, yeah, what they've been talking about for half an hour. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is exactly yeah, this is exactly right. I saw someone do this, my client at Walmart, I saw someone very high up do that, listen to an entire room and synthesize, be really, really quiet as the boss, and then synthesize in like two sentences. And he did it over and over and over. And he ended up being the smartest person in the room, not because those ideas were original or his, it's because he took the best of what people were saying, brought them together and said, okay, this is the strategy and how we need to
Yeah.
move forward. And it was very powerful to watch. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I can like tape my mouth shut long enough to actually do that. But it's a great skill.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, I think also with this sort of, like conversations and everything, you may sometimes see that the conversation is going to a total different place.
Yes.
But I guess you have to let it play
Yeah,
and just take your opportunity when the opportunity comes.
exactly. And knowing what battles to fight.
At every level, personal, business,
At every level, knowing if like, do I really want to get, is that really irritating me, or is that actually changing the course of what we're gonna do, personally or
Yeah.
professionally, right? Or is it just irritating at that moment? It's not, it's an it's a mole, it's an ant on the ass of an elephant. It's not gonna, change my life or change what's happening here. It's hard to distinguish in that moment because we have emotions and we get caught up in that and not being present into like what the focus actually is.
Yeah, you couldn't said it better. I think it's key here to understand that behind every professional or behind every role, there is a person, a human being, like with emotions, with feelings, with expectations. And I think it's key for us at least to learn a lot about ourselves, to, like know yourself. And I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with, um, you know, knowing more and more about myself and understanding
Mhm.
how I feel the way I feel and how I behave the way I behave. So I think that's the only way to get better at at being a person, at being a human being, and just uh, getting better at life.
Yeah,
I would summarize.
definitely. I think we learn that too late in life sometimes.
I
Should be
agree.
should be taught in kindergarten. But anyway, I digress. Uh, what would your piece of advice be, or your best advice for your 25-year-old self if you had to give yourself advice?
um, I would say just to keep it cool, to trust the process, to keep opening doors. I think that's also um, what I tell everyone, like the younger generations now. When I sit with them and they ask me like, well, how do you build a plan? How do you know, how to start or where to start? And
Right.
I've always said this, and this is based on my personal experience. The main clients or the biggest businesses or like like the main opportunities that I've ever launched, um I did that, or like that ended up happening because I was pursuing something more than just money. I was just showing up, being there regardless of the economical opportunity. Maybe because I was interested in some particular
Curiosity.
situation.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I was
curiosity.
curious about,
Hmm.
like I was just opening the doors and just showing up there. And like, I'm for real, like 80% of the businesses that I've launched, and the big ones, were because I was either helping someone do something like, and what I was getting, it was just learning or, like
Hmm.
growing into some
Hmm.
particular skill or something, showing up, even though I didn't want to, but like she's showing up because I had to be there. So I think that's key, like just to, keep opening doors. It doesn't matter where you are. I've always, I even keep this practice for myself. Like when I
Hmm.
receive a lot of this vendor emails that you
Hmm.
get, we
Oh
get a
yeah.
lot of.
Oh yeah, tons of them.
I still reply to those. I sat with them, like just to, like have meetings and learn, okay, how is this person pitching? How is this person selling?
Hmm.
What are they telling me? What can I learn from them? So I think we never stop learning, and I think being humble and keep opening doors and keep listening and seeing what it's out there. I think it's, you know, the main advice I would give. And
It's
then
a
the
great
rest,
piece of
it will
advice.
follow. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
the
it
rest will
definitely it
follow.
definitely follows, but I think that opening doors and being curious is very, very key. And that's very entrepreneurial too. You know, it's not a set path. It's a very it's not a straight line and it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So don't worry, just get the right shoes on and just keep walking, keep going. It doesn't matter if the path doesn't go where you want it to go. You've learned something, even if you learn something negative. Oh, this is not the right place for me.
Yeah.
It's okay. Better to learn that's not the right place than to be somewhere and not realize it until it's too late. And then you're thinking, oh, I'm really unhappy in this situation, personal or professional. Um, how do people get a hold of you? Give us a plug. How should they get a hold of you if they want to work with you?
Well, it's very easy to reach out to me, but LinkedIn, it's always a tool that, it's available. I use it. I'm there. I'm starting to create much more content there. So, like, you can ping me there, but you can also send me an email at flor@civilmafia.com. Uh, if you want to reach me, you'll be able to, because it's like
Sound
as
like
a
you're
good
you're
entry.
you're you're 24/7, I think.
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
Awesome. Flora, thank you so much. It's been really great having you on the show. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for the opportunity, as I said, and I love that you are doing this, and I hope to see you again soon, but also hope to listen to all other podcasts from fellow entrepreneurs soon too.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you, Zatia.